What is up, Insaners, and welcome to another video of the Fantasy Premier League 2021-22 season. In this one, guys, we'll talk about our team for the upcoming game week. We'll end the video with the best captain picks for the week, so make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well if you're new around here. Do watch the whole video, guys, because this is going to be a really important one. If you're wildcarding this week, or if you can't decide where to go for it or not, we did a detailed stream talking about the reasons to wildcard along with a detailed take on each player in our wildcard team. It's quite a comprehensive one, guys, and it should help you take the right calls for this week. I'll add the links at the end of the video as well as in the video's description. With that, guys, let's get into today's video. We'll quickly cover how we did in game week 6 and then we move on to our team for game week 7. Now, game week 6 was a pretty average week. We scored 47 points, 441 points in 6 weeks so far, an overall rank of 37k, and we dropped around 10k places this week, so not that ideal, but we'll still take it. There wasn't a lot in our team this week. Poor in defense, there were no clean sheets for Sanchez, White, and Trent. Now, Shaw also got injured. In Ole's press conference, guys, it was not very clear whether he's going to play or not. Still looks like a 50-50 to me, and he might go out for a lot of people this week. That is also because there's so many alternatives available, and people might lose patience with Shaw. Now, even Trent is out for the City game, but it's a bit tricky here because Klopp said that he might be okay and he should be back in game week 8 after the international break, so it's a tricky one. What do you do with him? Would you sell him? Would you keep him? We'll cover that a little later in the video. Now, coming to midfield, and there were points all around, but no huge hauls this week. Greenwood was the only one who blanked this week, and he was not very inspiring in spite of taking a lot of shots and trying to score a goal this week. Guys, not captaining Salah also hurt us. Along with going for Gray, I think instead of Sar, we went ahead with Gray, and that has cost us some points. Now, coming to a couple of other picks in our midfield, Rafinha and Jota, finally they got some goals, got a haul, but it was not a big one. Overall, nothing big, but I don't like the look of Jota, Greenwood, and even Gray for the upcoming weeks, especially in game week 7 and a little beyond, and they would be going out for my team. In game week 6, Ronaldo was our captain, guys. He was one of the most favorite captain picks for the week, and he blanked, and we struggled because of that. Also, Antonio scoring and captained by a lot of people didn't help at all, and this is where we lost most of the ranks. So the people who captained Salah or Antonio, they ended up with a green arrow, and this is where I think we lost out. Overall, not very happy with the team and the score in game week 6. I think this is where my decision was, taken in terms of going for the wild card this week. There are a couple of flags with Trent, with Ayling, even Shaw might not be featuring this week. So to be honest, I only have a couple of defenders who might play. Yes, I have 2 free transfers and I can take a hit, but I'm not also really happy with the overall structure of the team. Right now, I can only play with a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2, and I cannot use that third striker spot because I have Scarlett in my team. Plus, players like Jota, Greenwood, and even Gray, they're not very inspiring for the coming weeks. I think my decision was pretty clear. I had to take the wild card, and I thought of getting onto a couple of players a bit early than the other managers, and this is where we can actually benefit. Of course, there's no denying that game week 7 wildcard is a bit trickier than game week 8, which will be after the international break and after that Man City Liverpool game, which could be a hindrance this week. Nevertheless, guys, we've gone ahead with the wildcard. Our wildcard is active, and let's get into our team for game week 7. As I mentioned earlier, we were playing a 3-5-2, but this wildcard gives us an opportunity to either go 4-4-2 or even go for a 3-4-3 for most weeks. Now, we've done some shifting in defense. In fact, we've changed our entire defense apart from Livramento. Now, we've gone ahead with Ramsdale as a goalkeeper and Foster as a backup. Now, Ramsdale is from Arsenal, guys. Arsenal, again, it's not a knee-jerk reaction. I still feel they have been improving defensively, and Ramsdale in defense is a very cheap, a high-value option. He's got 18 points in the last 3 games. I believe that he's the best budget goalkeeper for the upcoming games, and he's pretty nailed in that Arsenal backline. I don't think Leno is going to start anytime soon, and there are rumors that he also might leave in January, so that really cements Ramsdale's position in the Arsenal defense. So far, he's got 2 clean sheets, he's also got 2 save points, and I think with Arsenal conceding a lot of shots, there is a good potential for him to make more saves. If you combine that with a clean sheet here and there, I think this could be a great option going forward, especially for the people who are on a wild card. I think Ramsdale is my number 1 pick. Overall, great run of fixtures. I think he's a set and forget option, and let's move on. Our second keeper is Foster. Again, he might not start for the upcoming games, especially with Bachmann coming back in training. I think Bachmann is still Watford's number 1, and he will be starting for Watford. So I don't think so Foster is really of any use here. Let's say in case if we have to really use him and if he plays, I think he could still come in handy. I personally don't like the two rotating goalkeepers with two 4.5 options. I think that's a little too much value invested in the goalkeeping position. I also don't like spending 5 million or even more money in the goalkeeper position because I think with so much value in defense, midfield, and attack, and so many options available, you can really make use of those funds and get ahead of the curve. Now, coming to our defense, and this is where things have gotten really interesting for us. Guys, we've gone for a double Chelsea defense for now. I think the decision was pretty close in terms of going for Man City or Chelsea. With Chelsea, I think it's a bit tricky because you don't really know which options are set. I think there could be a lot of chopping and changing from Tuchel's rotation, but I still feel there's a good value in the Chelsea defense. Now, the point that I was mentioning earlier, Liverpool versus Man City, it's not ideal, and I'll have to let go of points from this particular week. But I think overall, Chelsea's defense is going to do well. The first option that we've gone for is Rudiger, guys. I think he's the mainstay of the Chelsea defense. He's as nailed as someone can get, guys. Chelsea have an amazing run of fixtures. He's also played every minute in the league so far. He's got 4 clean sheets and also a goal. So we know that he can score a goal. He has some attacking and some goal threat as well. It's not as high as someone like an Alonso, for example, but I think we'll still take it. I think he's a better option than Christensen, who might miss out on a few games, especially with that rotation with Silva. So I think Rudiger at 5.7, 5.8, that kind of a price range, I think he's well worth it. The second option that we've gone for right now, guys, is Azpilicueta. I know you might be thinking that Azpilicueta is very expensive. He probably has less goal threat and he might not give you a lot of attacking returns. But I think the safety is a big concern for me, especially because we've gone for someone like a Cancelo, which we'll just speak about. I think having someone like an Azpilicueta makes a lot more sense, especially if we compare him to someone like Alonso, because I think there are a lot of rumors, a lot of murmurs in the FPL community that Alonso might not start this particular week, especially with Chilwell coming back in the frame, and I think Chilwell will get games. He's not somebody who will be, sitting on the bench for a very long time. I think there'll be a good amount of rotation between Alonso and Chilwell, and I think it's a bit tricky to crack that. Yes, Alonso has played really well. He's scored goals. In terms of attack, I think he's done very well, but I still feel with the last couple of games, his performances have dipped a little bit, and that could be a great segue for Chilwell to kind of come into the frame and play the easier fixtures with probably Alonso playing the Champions League games. That again could be a possibility. It might not be, but I still feel I don't want to take that risk, especially when I have the likes of Cancelo on my team. So we've gone for Azpilicueta. I think it's pretty okay. He can cover two positions for Chelsea at right wing back and centre back, especially till the time Reece James is out. I think it could be a better option than someone like an Alonso or Chilwell, where rotation could set in. Now, the third option, which is in the playing 11 for us right now, is Semedo, guys. I think if he could have had those chances that he could have put away, I think he would have been the best defender, the highest scoring defender right now in the game, guys. I think it's only a matter of time where he gets a haul, he gets a goal, he can get a few assists as well. We've all seen that. He has great creative potential as well. So I think overall, I'm okay taking a bit of risk with Semedo. Yes, clean sheet perspective, Wolves don't really look that high. Their defensive numbers are pretty okay, to be very honest. But I think in the next 6 or 7 games, they might get a couple of clean sheets, maybe even more. But I still feel I would not really consider Semedo as just a defender. I think I would probably consider him as the second Wolves attacker in my team because he advances a lot, he makes those runs, he can also cross the ball, he can get assists, can score a goal as well. Though his finishing is pretty bad and he's not done that so far, but I still feel going Semedo is much better than someone like a Marcel who could be benched in the coming weeks. Especially with Ait Nouri coming back, guys, I think Marcel could be in a bit of a bother. And if you compare Semedo to the likes of Cody, Kilburn, and centre back positions, I think Semedo still tops in terms of all the Wolves assets available. Our four defenders, Cancelo, guys, he's right now not playing because he's playing against Liverpool, which is going to be a tricky game. Again, it could be a slow scoring game. It could be like a 0-0 sort of a game where he could get a clean sheet. But I still feel there are better options available for this particular week, especially with Semedo playing the likes of Newcastle. I think there is good value to be gained there. But still, having one City defender is kind of a must right now. And Cancelo, with the huge attacking upside, guys, I think he's the one to go for. He's the top scoring defender in the league. He's also playing for the best defense. The best part about him is that he can be utilized in various positions, right? And he started all games this season. Again, that could all go down the drain because we know Pep, we know his rotation, we know his roulette. I think there are good chances that he can get benched in the coming games with the Champions League games coming up as well. But I still feel with the kind of options that we have in our team, we have a cover for Cancelo. Even if he's benched, I think we do have a cover for him. And I think we would want to attack that huge upside that he gets. We know that he loves taking a shot. We know that he can score as well. And I think he's taken 10 shots. He's also had one big chance. So there are signs there is attacking potential there. And we would definitely want to tap into that area. Now, one major name that is missing from this team is Trent, guys. If you see, we have 2 million remaining in the bank. And I think it's an easy plan to get Aspilicueta to take him out and then get Trent when and if Trent is fit. There's also an argument to not probably go for Trent, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in game week 8 after the international break. If there are any injuries to take care, if there are any other transfers to take care, I think we'll take that call at that moment. But we've made a provision in this team to get Trent back. I think that's the right play. He anyways has a tough fixture this week and he's not playing against City. So I think it's okay going without him on the wildcard as well. Now let's talk about a midfield. We'll start with a couple of names which I think are essential when you talk about midfield going forward in the FPL game, guys. Salah has to be in your team. He's in great form. He's consistent. He's FPL gold according to me. And I think if you're going without him, you're not really playing FPL the right way. We know that he scores goals for fun. He's a reliable captaincy option for most weeks. He's already scored 57 points in 6 game weeks, guys. That is massive. That is huge. He's scoring over 4 shots and a big chance every game on average. This week as well, he has scoring odds of 39%, and we know that he can score against tough defenses as well. He's on penalties. I think he's in the form of his life, and you have to go with him. Second option that we have in our team, guys, and he's almost a must-have, is Rafinha. I think he's the best value option. He's the best budget midfielder in that 5.5 to about 6.57 million category. We know that he's Leeds' main man, and he's also scoring these days, guys. Yes, he's still missing a lot of chances. Probably with Bamford out, most of the attacking output is going through Rafinha. That could change, that could be shared once Bamford returns. But for now, I think Leeds have a great run of fixtures. We know that they are a very good attacking unit. Yes, defensively they've struggled, but they still managed to score goals. And he's already scored 3 goals. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to come from Rafinha. He's taken 19 shots, guys. He's also created 2 big chances. So there is assist potential as well. I think if you're looking at midfielder in and around that price range, you have to go with Rafinha. Now the rest 3 spots is where things get really interesting, guys. Right now we've gone ahead with Saka, Buemo and Gallagher. I think these are great cheap enablers in our team, guys, and they also help us go a bit heavy in defense. We've gone ahead with Saka and we've taken him over the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe and Odegaard. I think Saka is the most nailed Arsenal attacker. He's returned 3 times in the last 2 games. Arsenal look to have turned a corner and they look a better attacking unit right now. The fixtures are looking great. Saka is, I think, the most nailed, as I just mentioned. He's taken 11 shots, including 9 shots in the box as well. So there is great attacking threat from Saka. I think his fitness has also improved as compared to the earlier fixtures, the early run of games that Arsenal had, and they were struggling in those games. I still feel he could be a great cheap enabler at that 6.2, 6.3 price bracket. I think he's going to take along very nicely with the Arsenal fixtures. And if you're looking for a cheap midfielder apart from Rafinha, I think he's definitely the second name to target. As I mentioned, our other 2 options are Buemo and Gallagher, guys. We'll start with Buemo. I think he's also a good option considering that link-up play with Tony has really worked so far, guys. Yes, he's a bit frustrating in terms of how he's performed FPL-wise because he's done really well in actual football games, guys. It's just that those performances haven't really translated into FPL points, and it's a bit frustrating to watch sometimes. Someone like a Traore, right? He's similar to someone like a Traore, where you know that he can score, he can give you those points. Is it that the lack of finishing? Is it that the lack of final output from him really makes you curse that move, right? So, but I think it's still a decent move to go for. He's top for big chances and XG among all Brentford players this season. So there's a good chance of him being involved whenever Brentford are to score, guys. I think that's really important. He's been posting some great numbers and I think he offers a lot of value. I really like him as a pick overall. I think he's playing for a Brentford side who are improving, who are definitely improving, who have had a great defense, but they're also improving in terms of attack. And the best part is, guys, that he's only in that 5.5 million bracket, right? So you don't expect him to give you major hauls week on week. Even if he gives you a couple of returns in 3 or 4 games, guys, I think that is absolutely fine. He could be a great set and forget option, someone better than, a 4.5 million midfielder who might not give you those attacking returns. I think he's still better than that kind of a player. So you can easily have him in your team. You can set and forget him for the coming fixtures. Yes, the next couple of game weeks are a bit tricky, but I think the run really gets a lot better after that. And I think he's not the worst transfer possible. I think if you're looking to replace the likes of Jota, Greenwood, and you've already gotten the likes of Rafinha and even Saka, for example, I think Buemo is a great replacement. I probably won't suggest you to double up on him with Tony just yet, but I think in isolation, Buemo could be a great move. He's also playing out of position and he's playing as a proper forward, and I think that's one very important point to consider. We know that his link up play with Tony is absolutely great, and I think whenever Brentford would do something, Buemo should be involved in majority of it. Our last pick is Conor Gallagher, guys, and it's a bit tricky to be very honest. He plays for a Crystal Palace side who have definitely improved in attack this season. I think they look a lot better under Vieira. Gallagher is also in the top 5 midfielders for both expected assists and expected goals, guys, and that clearly highlights how good his attacking numbers have been. Just one side note to kind of take care, guys, is that since Milijovic's introduction back into the side, Gallagher, I think he's lost his share on set pieces. I think that could significantly reduce his potential. So that is one thing to kind of watch out for. But overall, I think he's also a kind of a long-term option, especially when you're looking at a wild card, right? He's a pretty long-term option. Again, you can switch him with the likes of Buemo in most weeks. You can also switch him with the likes of Saka when the Arsenal fixtures get a bit tricky. And I think overall, when you're looking at a wildcard squad, you would want to have someone like a Gallagher who you could play for the easier fixtures for sure. Other than these players, I think I would not really want to invest in Jota or Greenwood right now. I think now is the time to get rid of them rather than anything else. I think the board to invest in an Everton midfielder is also probably sailed now. They have West Ham and Watford after United. But I think after that, the schedule becomes really tricky with Wolves, Tottenham, Man City, Brentford, Liverpool, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, and Chelsea. I don't think so. It makes any sense to invest in an Everton midfielder, and I'll probably just look elsewhere. Coming to our forwards, guys, and we've gone ahead with a strong front three. We have Lukaku. I think he's going to be the most popular transfer, most popular pick this week. He's also a great captaincy option with the Chelsea run coming in. He's facing Southampton, Brentford, Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley, and Leicester in the next few weeks. And I think all these games are really easy from a captaincy point of view. I think that decision is quite set for you. Play him in your team and you make him captain, and I think you move on from there. He has to be Chelsea's main focus scoring, guys. Another great thing, another very important point to note is that Mount is also back and he should feature this week. And I think that should really increase Lukaku's attacking potential. He scored 3 goals so far, and 2 of them were against Villa, but I think against the easier teams, he's gonna really run riot. I really predict that he'll outscore any other premium striker over the next few weeks, even Ronaldo, the likes of Kane, etc. And I think he's the one to definitely go for. Our second striker is Jimenez, guys, and it's a bit debatable. I think this is a little tricky and a bit controversial. He just got off the mark for the season, guys, in the last game against Southampton. He's gotten a lot of chances, he's taken a lot of shots, but in general, I think he's missed those opportunities. I think this goal will give him a lot of confidence, guys. And those misses that he was kind of, having, I think those could change. He could start scoring for Wolves. Wolves have looked really good from an attacking perspective. I think the underlying stats are great. Is it the lack of finishing? Is it the poor finishing which has kind of led them to not score a lot of goals? We know that Jimenez is Wolves' key guy. I think he's definitely the main man. There is no risk of rotation with Jimenez, and Wolves will rely on him for goals. If you look at the best stretch of fixtures for long term, I think Wolves definitely have the best ones. Newcastle, Villa, Leeds, Everton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Norwich. I think that run is really massive, and you could back Jimenez to get a few goals in there. Our third striker is Antonio, guys, and I think he's pretty much fixture proof right now. I don't think so his form is slowing anytime soon. And guys, he needs to be in your team. In spite of West Ham having a tough run of fixtures in the coming games, they face Everton, Tottenham, Liverpool, and Man City. But I still feel with the kind of form that he's in, I think there's a good chance that he can score at least a couple of goals in those fixtures as well. And guys, he scored 47 points in the first 5 games, 25 shots, including 8 big chances. That is first overall among all strikers. He has great scoring odds for this week at 44%. I think these are all signs to at least keep him. If you're not going for a double up with Benrahma, it's absolutely fine, guys. But I think Antonio is still a must have for your team. Of course, you can make a case for forwards like Saint Maximin and Tony at a cheaper value, but I think likes of Jimenez and Antonio, they look a lot better. And if you have the money, guys, if you have that budget, I would definitely invest in Jimenez and Antonio over the likes of Armstrong, Tony, and Saint Maximin. Which that was our wildcard team, guys. Our wildcard is active, and that was our team. I think we're pretty much set in terms of the moves. I think the players are pretty much set. It's just a small dilemma that I have right now whether to play Saka against Brighton, which is an away fixture, or play Gallagher against a Leicester City squad which is really struggling to keep out goals. I don't think so. Soyuncu and Vestergaard are a great defensive pair. I think Gallagher could take advantage of that. So that's just a small dilemma in my head right now. I think right now I'm on Gallagher playing this week in my 11, but that could change before the deadline. Let me know, guys, what kind of moves you're making, what kind of transfers you're making for this particular week. Who are you transferring out? Are you playing your wild card? Do let me know in the comments below. Great, now let's get into the last section of this video, guys. We'll talk about the best captain picks for game week 7. I think the Ronaldo versus Lukaku captaincy debate is quite close this week, guys. Of course, the most popular option is going to be Romelu Lukaku. The Chelsea striker, guys, has an XGI, has an expected goal involvement in 90 minutes of 0.88. I think that's pretty high. Whatever Chelsea do, whether they're scoring goals, whether somebody's providing an assist, I think Lukaku has to be in the mix, and that is why I really like him for captaincy this week. He's also playing Southampton, who have generally overperformed their expected goals conceded this season, and I genuinely feel that they will concede against a strong Chelsea side, which will also have Mount back in. We know that Lukaku is the focal point for Chelsea, and I think he's gonna go riot in this game, guys. Definitely the most popular captaincy choice. If you want to go safe, if you have Lukaku in your team, go with him without a doubt. The second option is Cristiano Ronaldo, guys. Even though United is struggling a bit in attack, to close out games, he's still scoring goals for fun. And guys, he can score against any team. You cannot really say that he has a tough fixture because, of course, he's a flat track bully, especially when you consider the likes of Real Madrid and Juventus, the teams that he played before. But I still feel he can score against any team. This week, Everton is again not a very tough fixture. I think Everton are not solid defensively and they are missing some key players. There's a good chance that they can concede against United, can even concede a couple of goals against United, and he might not be a bad shout if you don't have the likes of Lukaku. I still believe the fixture is looking very good for Man United, and guys, if United will score, I'm pretty sure Ronaldo will be involved in the scoring. Now, if you don't want to go for Lukaku or Ronaldo, there's a third option like last week in the name of Mikel Antonio, guys. He's playing Brentford at home. Now, he's got 9 goal involvements in 5 games so far. If you also consider Brentford and how they played against Liverpool last week, I think that was a pretty unexpected sort of a game. They were quite open, they were attacking from the word go, and they didn't sit back and defend. And I think, guys, we could see something similar in the game against West Ham this week. We know how strong the West Ham attack is, especially with the likes of Benrahma and Antonio, and both of them combining. I think Mikel Antonio could still get a goal or maybe even 2 for this week. I generally believe there's a huge upside in captaining him against Brentford. I think they could be quite open for the second game running, and if you would really want to go differential, Mikel Antonio has to be the pick. Now, guys, in case if you do not want to go for these 3 players, for the likes of Ronaldo, Lukaku, and Antonio, you can still go for a bit of a tasty pick. You can still go for a couple of decent options, couple of very differential options in the name of Rafinha, Jimenez, and even Jamie Vardy, guys. A slightly tasty differential here is Rafinha, who has the highest point ceiling in my opinion for this week, guys. This season he's got 19 goal attempts, he's created 13 chances, he's created big chances as well. I think whatever leads to, as I mentioned earlier, Rafinha will be involved, will be in the mix of things. And if you really want to stick your neck out there and go for a tasty differential, I think he's also a great option to go for. He's playing Watford, who aren't that great defensively, and I think Rafinha could take advantage of that. Now, another option is Raul Jimenez, guys. I know not a lot of people would be going for Jimenez, but I still feel his confidence is going to be back. He's facing a Newcastle side who have conceded the most goal attempts among all teams, guys, in the last 4 game weeks. And that really speaks volumes because I think Jimenez, again, he's not a player who would give you a huge double-digit haul. I think he's never done that before. But I still feel if you want to go a bit differential and if you want to target the fixture, I think things cannot get better than a Newcastle game. Our third option is Jamie Vardy, who's playing a Crystal Palace side. Again, that this could be a controversial one because Palace generally this season has improved in terms of attack and defense, and I don't think so they're that leaky at the back. But I still feel Vardy being Vardy, guys, even if Leicester is struggling right now, right? Vardy still scoring goals. I think there are shades of the old Vardy coming back this season, which was kind of missing last season. So I think if you have Vardy by any chance, somehow you have Vardy, I think you can also captain him this week against Palace. It could be a great game to target. So guys, who are you captaining for game week 7? Do let me know in the comments below. So that'll be all from my side, guys. I really hope you'll find this video helpful in setting up your final team for game week 7. Make sure you hit the like button if you like our team selection video. That'll help us reach more people on YouTube and help many more FPL managers like you. Also consider subscribing to the channel as well, guys, if you're new around here. That'll really mean a lot to us. So we'll be back now for the deadline stream, guys. This will be an hour and a half before the deadline. So do join us for that if you have any last minute questions or transfer queries. All the best to all FPL managers. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you in Saners next time.